We need to talk about a resource you probably never give a second thought to, but one that our entire high-tech world is built on. I'm talking about helium, and right now it is in the middle of a massive, unprecedented crisis.
So here's the deal. A black swan event just happened. Instantly, 1/3 of the entire global supply of helium just vanished. It's gone. This isn't some future prediction. This is the reality on the ground right now.
So why should you care? Well, this isn't some abstract problem. The fallout from this threatens the smartphone in your pocket, and it has a direct, and I mean direct, impact on national defense. The stakes really could not be higher. Let's break it down.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really get a handle on this crisis, you first have to understand why helium is so incredibly unique, and why its sudden disappearance is a problem that we just can't easily engineer our way out of.
Yeah, when we hear helium, we all think of party balloons, right? But that's not even a drop in the bucket. The real magic of helium comes from its physics. It has the lowest boiling point of any element in the universe, and it's completely inert. That combination makes it the ultimate, irreplaceable supercoolant for things like manufacturing semiconductor chips and running the powerful magnets in MRI machines.
So the obvious question is, can't we just use something else? And the blunt answer is no. For its most critical jobs, there is literally no substitute. Nitrogen can work for some cooling, but it just doesn't get cold enough for things like superconducting magnets. And hydrogen? Well, you probably don't want something that flammable floating around a multi-billion-dollar chip factory. For the really important stuff, helium is the one and only.
And look at where we get it from. The entire world's supply is concentrated in just a handful of countries. You've got the US, Qatar, Algeria, Russia, and that's pretty much it. So you can see just how fragile this whole supply chain is. It's like a line of dominoes, and one of the biggest ones just got knocked over. The shockwave hits everybody, instantly.
So 1/3 of the supply is off the table. What does that actually mean? Well, we are watching a cascading failure happen in real time across our most important sectors. Let's trace the fallout.
Think about any advanced piece of technology you own. Your phone, your laptop, the data centers that run the cloud, the entire AI revolution. Every single one of those advanced chips needs helium to be made. It's not optional. No helium, no chips. It is that black and white.
And this is where it gets really serious, because those very same chips are the brains inside our most advanced military hardware. We're talking F-15 fighter jets, Patriot missile systems, you name it. A helium shortage leads directly to a chip shortage, and a chip shortage means we literally can't build the tools needed for national defense.
You don't have to take my word for it. An industry expert told the Pentagon flat out, if we don't have helium, we don't have that industry. The dependency is absolute. The entire defense industrial base is completely at the mercy of the helium supply chain.
And it doesn't stop there. Take a look at the aerospace sector. A single heavy-lift space launch can burn through $1.5 million worth of helium. So if you're a company like SpaceX, with plans for hundreds of launches, a supply crunch like this could literally ground half your fleet. It is a massive roadblock.
The pain is just spreading everywhere. Hospitals could see their MRI machines go dark. The fiber optic cables that form the backbone of the internet? Production slows to a crawl. Even consumer gadgets, like a Nintendo Switch, could see price hikes. And maybe the biggest one, all the incredible growth we expect from AI depends on a massive build-out of new hardware that cannot be made without helium. So this is much bigger than just a supply chain hiccup. This is about geopolitics. What we're seeing is helium becoming a brand new and very important piece on the global chessboard.
And the timing for the United States here is just unbelievably bad. Right as this crisis explodes, what did the federal government do? It finished selling off America's strategic helium reserve. That reserve was our national buffer, the flywheel that kept the market stable during shocks. And now, right when we need it most, it's gone.
And when you look at what other countries are doing, the difference is night and day. The US has basically taken a hands-off approach, saying, let the private market handle it. Meanwhile, our strategic rivals like Russia and China are playing a totally different game. They're treating helium like a strategic weapon. They are building state-backed national reserves and even building new helium plants right next to their national spaceports. They see it as absolutely critical for their long-term dominance.
So you might be wondering, can't we just flip a switch and get things back to normal? The answer is a hard no. There is no quick fix to this, and understanding the timeline is key to understanding just how severe this situation is.
Let me be crystal clear about something. This isn't a problem you can solve by clearing a shipping lane or signing a treaty. The source of this crisis is a physically damaged production facility in Qatar. The people who run the plant have said it themselves. It could take 3 to 5 years to get it fully repaired and back online.
And bringing new production online is a long, expensive process. Sure, you could probably stand up a plant that produces basic gaseous helium in about 6 months, but that's not what high-tech needs. They need the ultra-pure cryogenic liquid helium. And for that, you need a complex $50 million machine called a liquefier. That takes over 16 months to build and install. And what does a long timeline like that do to prices? Well, you can probably guess. In normal times, helium might trade for under 50 cents per cubic foot. But during the last major shortage, prices shot up to $2.50. We are on that exact same trajectory right now. And that cost gets passed from the manufacturer to the company and eventually to you.
So, given everything we've talked about, the situation looks pretty grim. The big question now is, what can actually be done to fix this critical vulnerability?
Well, industry experts are pushing a pretty clear 4-step plan. First, officially designate helium as a critical mineral. That gives it the policy focus it deserves. Second, create real incentives to build more domestic production and, most importantly, those expensive liquefaction plants. Third, support the smaller exploration companies to diversify our supply. And finally, it's time to seriously reevaluate creating a new national strategic reserve.
The key takeaway here is this. This isn't just about managing a short-term crisis. This is about our fundamental economic security. How can major corporations in AI, aerospace, and chips plan for long-term growth if they can't rely on a stable supply of an element they absolutely cannot live without? The simple answer is, they can't.
And that leaves us with one final, massive question. When our geopolitical rivals are actively weaponizing resources like helium to secure their own technological and military future, can the United States really afford to keep treating it as just another commodity, subject to the chaotic whims of the global market? The answer to that question will define America's place in the world for decades to come.